Well, welcome back. And now we are on chapter 12, and this is on managing virtual teams. Now, okay, I think we're all familiar with this read about now because we're all experiencing working with virtual teams. And so you're probably thinking, I wish I had this, Dr. Carroll, a little bit earlier because working with virtual teams can be something. I don't think a lot of people knew how to do this. And whether we go back to things as normal, I don't know if we ever will, but virtual teams are very important. We were already working as virtual teams, but in a building because we had gone global for the most part. We had people over in another country that was working with us. One of the biggest things about virtual teams is the managing of those virtual teams and people not knowing how, or managers not knowing how to control those virtual teams, especially people who like to have a lot of control, like to be in there, like to be hands-on, likes to, kind of delegate the way they want to delegate duties or see people working. They think if people are not at their desk. I remember I would walk around and I would see people not working, just wasting time. And I thought that was such a time waste of energy, morale, and things of that nature. If one could work from home or looking at the work that needs to be done and trusting adults to do that work, I think it's very important. I think you get more creativity and innovation out of those individuals that are able to work from home because they want to make their job seem much less complex. People value their time. For many of us, that's all we have is time, the little time we have to use, and we value that time. So we are going to go now into our chapter 12 and discussing the whole thing about valuing time. All right, virtual teams rather. And so this is going to be an interesting topic for us today because we're already inside of this. And I look so forward to your feedback on this one on managing virtual teams. So we're still talking about teams and organization, and this is part of that. So place-time model of social interaction. The place-time model considers teams in terms of their geographic location and temporal relationship. Richness is the potential information carrying capacity of a communications medium. And then face-to-face communication is relatively rich in the information it conveys because it allows the simultaneous observation of several cues, including body language, facial expression, and tone of voice, and provides people with greater awareness of context. So this is where I think a lot of people are missing out on this face-to-face communication, watching tone of body language and all of that, because those are communication mechanisms that we face today. We're accustomed to facing. We're not accustomed to having communications via the internet, virtual. There are 4 types of communication possibilities in place and time model of social interaction. They're face-to-face, same time, different place, different time, same place, different time. So same time, face-to-face, telephone, video conference, Skype, different time. Facebook, single text editing, Dropbox, shift work. Different place would be text message, email, voicemail. So look at this. Now look at this good. Face-to-face, telephone, video conference, Skype, different time, Facebook, single text editing, Dropbox, shift work, text message, email, voicemail. Come on. These have commonalities. And yes, they are set up this way. Same place, different place, same place, different place. Okay? Face-to-face communication, crucial in the initiation of relationships and collaborations. Okay, we seem to need to smell, feel, taste, see people in order to build relationships and have collaborations with them. I disagree with this to a certain extent because I built some awesome relationships over this pandemic via virtually. Relationships that once I met them, we hugged, We were there. I met people all across the world because we were doing it virtually, and people would have never thought, let me meet this person. I met people in Australia, people in London, Paris, Italy. I met people basically all over the world, India. I met some people in Russia, and just having conversations, working with them on different projects and things of that nature. Never probably would have done that if it wasn't for the pandemic. So you can build relationships and have collaborations not being face-to-face, but people are more cooperative when interacting face-to-face. Ideal when teams must wrestle with complex problems without face-to-face contact. Work groups form more slowly and perhaps never fully. And this is why I think a lot of employers are thinking, I gotta go with the masses and I'm losing out on momentum and collaboration. So I need to start bringing people back to the office. People rely primarily on nonverbal signals to help them navigate social interactions. Perceptions. We've been operating on perceptions. We need to change that anyway. Rapport building through nonverbal signals, not the best modality for all types of teamwork and brainstorming. People communicate in real time, but are not physically in the same place. This is same time, different place. Loss of informal communication, disconnected feedback, loss of informal modeling, out of the loop employees. I don't necessarily feel that I'm out of the loop because I work from home. I feel like I'm at the place where I need to be. And my expectations are for my management to bring me into the loop, or when we have meetings, let's talk about those things we need to know in order to bring us into the loop. I think there's an argument for getting more work done, but you can see where my biases are here. Advantages: better preparation, reducing micromanagement. Yes, better preparation and reducing micromanagement. Same time, different place. Edmondson provides 4 tactics to help people reframe their purpose on their team. Different time, same place. Team members interact asynchronously, but share the same workspace. Teams in these types of work environments can rely on the physical environment too much for information and cues. This type of dependence can be a limitation for groups that find it impossible to work outside the ideocratic confines of their workspace. Different place, different time. People in this work mode communicate asynchronously in different places. Skim effect, the tendency for most people to skim email messages and respond only to one element of it. Well, people need to know how to answer every question that's in an email or any communication. So this may actually be an opportunity to get more involved and really do your work the right way. You're not really listening to people when they come to your office, all of what they have to say. Ecocentrism. People believe that they convey a message in the correct tone when in fact the message is misunderstood. And I think this happens a lot. My friend had contacted me. I do these 365 inspirations. I was doing them daily. And she contacted me. She said, girl, I don't think this message is conveying what you want. I think you got to read it. So I went to check myself in Grammarly. They have this new thing where they can check your tone and they can tell you what people may perceive from the message that you're sending. I love it. It was the best thing invented since sliced bread. Loss of translation, communicating via email strips, the message of the paralinguistic and nonverbal cues that enable us to richly communicate. Email and productivity, communication technology and health, cohesion and trust. Key things to expect when interaction with team or via information with a team via technology. Reduce status differences, the weak get strong effect. Equalization of participation, increased time to make decisions. Communication frequency decreases and lowers inhibitions. Group make riskier decisions and exhibit greater polarization. Social norms change and negative interactions increase. Task performance and decision quality. Research findings, formation of trust and rapport more difficult. So these are some of the reasons, guys, your employers are saying, I need you to come on back to the office. Virtual, hybrid, and traditional teams. A virtual team is a group of people working together across time and space using electronic information technology. Three factors that distinguish virtual, hybrid, and traditional team: physical distance, technology support, percentage of time the group members spent apart. So here we are in this exhibit 1212, hybrid, level of tech support, a percentage of time apart task, physical distance traditional, and pure virtual. Now, traditional teams are physically close, spend much work time together, typically require low tech support for their teamwork. Very true. I'm going to tell you, physical teams, there is more of a cohesive bond because we're spending more of our time together. Whereas virtual teams are getting more connected, have an opportunity to connect with their family more because they're not traveling long periods of time to get to work. And so they have more time at home to spend with their family if they're able to manage their time properly while being virtual. Purely virtual teams spend the majority of the time apart, vary in their tech support needs, and vary in their physical distance from one another. And that is true. Being virtual allows me to be my person that I need to be. At a company, I'm not the person I need to be, and I would probably be less satisfied if I was at the building all the time. Hybrid teams represent the largest percentage of teams and have the most variation in their physical distance, time spent apart, and tech support. And so some people are going to both hybrid schedules. Advantages of virtual and hybrid teams: combine the best talents of people in companies, and they allow better use of human resources. Advantages of virtual and hybrid teams: can increase team member empowerment. Virtual hybrid workers seem just as productive, if not more productive, than traditional workers. And virtual hybrid employees report higher happiness level. Can I say more? I totally agree with her, even though she wrote this probably in 2017. It was published in 2018. She started in 2011, 2014, updating it. Even if I saw her update for 2021, I would say the same, and probably add even more positives to the list, because they are happier and there is a better connection between family relationships. I think you have to look at the whole when you're looking at teams, the advantages of virtual and hybrid teams, because when people are happier at home, we know if we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that first tier establishes where do I go to the next and the next and the next. Home life is very important. And sometimes we've forgotten about that. And I see that a lot of people were able to get back to that during this whole structure, even though they may have been tired. Home life does matter. Family time does matter. And we had escaped that, but this pandemic helped bring us back to that. Group identity and leadership. Virtual teams should seek to build group identity early in the formation of their team. Virtual team leaders must be more proactive. Virtual teams may better benefit from shared team leadership than hierarchical leadership. I totally agree. Agreeableness and consciousness are positively related to task and person leadership emergence. Conflict in groups. Virtual teams who experience conflict at the team's early stages can influence later conflict in the group. Studies done of groups that worked face-to-face via video conferences or via computer-mediated communication revealed that the leaner communication in the computer-mediated group prevented task conflicts from escalating into relationship conflicts. There's a lot to be said about these virtual teams. Geographic fault lines. If geographically dispersed teams in geographically dispersed teams, geographic locations may activate fault lines that split a group into subgroups that increase conflict and reduce trust. But that shouldn't be the case. Everybody should understand where people are, and that's one of the benefits I get. I don't have to be on that East Coast. I can be on the West Coast, but I got to adjust my time accordingly because I'm getting a benefit. So you got to see what the pros are and the benefits for you in these groups and not let these factors be a determining factor. So strategies for enhancing virtual teamwork. There are a variety of methods for enhancing performance of virtual teams, both structural and interpersonal. Team formation, technology, shared mental models, boundary objects, into initial face-to-face experiences, objective self-awareness, and integrity. Best practices for improving productivity of virtual teams include forming realistic virtual project team reviews, coaching from experienced team members, develop a shared understanding and sense of team identity, develop a clear mission, acquire senior management support. That's forming, storming, face-to-face team building sessions, training on conflict resolution, encourage conflicting employees to work together to find common ground, and shuffle diplomacy and mediation to create compromise solutions. And then we go to the storming of more storming as well. And we create customized templates or team charters specifying task requirements, set individual accountabilities, completion dates, and schedules, establish procedures for sharing information, distinguish tasks, social and contextual information, design procedures appropriate for each, and assign a team coach with skills of managing virtually. Some of these managers do not have skill sets for managing virtually. Ensure that departmental and company cultures supports virtual teamwork and provide sponsor support and resources for teams to perform, and that's performing. So teams formation. Location challenges can be overcome more easily than talent shortages. Companies should immerse virtual employees into the organization's culture, and technology is the key to let the technology drive the entire virtual team rather than technology should support the team. A key barrier to effective virtual teamwork is successful user adoption of new technology. People who hate technology are not going to be the best people from working virtually. People who don't want to avoid and take on the requirements of ease of use, ease of working together by adopting the virtual technology have to be dealt with. Everybody can't be the same, and everyone is not the same. Some people need actual be on the ground working with others, whereas others need to be have their space. Avoid individual monopolies by inviting interaction and inviting input from others. Shared mental models, regardless of how work members are communicating, they need to have a common understanding, guys, regarding their task and how to coordinate their efforts. Now, remember, social capital has been shown to be associated with greater knowledge sharing. Build your social capital. Boundary objects. Boundary objects are artifacts, tools, document models, and language and procedures that allow people from different teams to build the shared understanding. Now, initial face-to-face experiences include, it is much easier, guys, for people to work together if they have initially met face-to-face. And then face-to-face contact humanizes people and creates expressions or expectations for team members to use in their long distance work together. Smoothing, AKA virtual handshake, refers to contact between people that involves the exchange of some basic personal information and results in the expedited operation of virtual teams. I got put on a team as an example before the quarter was over. And the team, me and the guys spent an hour just talking about personal stuff and get to know each other. And I thought that was the best use of our time to spend it that way, because by us getting to know each other, it established a relationship because it established what we had in common, what we could work together on, what he could call me on, or use me for information, and the same for me. Integrity. 4 steps to a team member can take to demonstrate their integrity to virtual team members is be truthful and forthright. Avoid sarcasm, joking, and teasing. Maintain confidences. Don't spread gossip. Handle sensitive material information like you're supposed to. Cave and common flexibility. The cave and commons work design allows teams and individuals to regulate the amount of time they spend working individually and their level of group work interaction. Coaching the virtual team, Wackerman's model of coaching the virtual team, check that out. And then tactic knowledge is knowledge that is hard to articulate and was acquired through experiences. So that's a little different. Codified knowledge is knowledge that is transmittable in formal symbolic language. So as we close out this chapter on virtual teams, an old solution to place-time dilemmas was to relocate employees. Now new solutions are more varied, creative, and often cheaper and less permanent. Information technology can increase team productivity when working with virtual teams, especially, and a skilled manager knows when to use information technology, and what obstacles are likely to come up and how to address those in working with virtual teams. So that's it for chapter 12. We have one more chapter, and we are going to get ready to get started on that last chapter. And so this is great. We can talk more about virtual teams. We'll have more information concerning virtual teams. But remember, whatever team that you're working with, understanding social capital is a key, and it's some of the where we have a lot of our soft skills that are needed in working in virtual teams or even on the ground teams. Social capital is very important. So that's it for chapter 12. I'll see you for our last chapter, chapter 13.